Minwei Chi Nan. Chapter 217. Meet by chance. The day's work did not finish until it passed 7 o'clock in the evening. Both children were a little tired that when they got in the car, they fell asleep. Back to the park community, after parking the car, Qin Mian and Lei Tie carefully carried their sleeping sons home. Lei Tie settled them in their room. Then, he went to the kitchen and saw that his wife was already rinsing the rice and a vegetable basket was on the kitchen table. He kissed his wife and rolled up his sleeves to trim the vegetables. Dian Bai, Jin Simo P and Jinying had been released from the magical space by Qin Mian. They moved freely in the house. "Who is that old friend?" asked Lei Tie. Qin Mian connected the pressure cooker to the power supply and teased, "In fact, he can be considered as our matchmaker." Lei Tie thought for a bit, then coldly said, "Qin Lian." Their talking did not affect their work. Qin Mian picked up the ginger and peeled it. "Yes, it looks like he's doing well. What sort of matchmaker is he?" The scene of his wife falling from the stairs emerged in Lei Tie's mind, making him flustered. If heaven had not been partial to his wife and let him borrow a corpse to come back from the dead, his wife might have died when Qin Lian pushed him down the stairs. To Qin Lian, he had only disgust. He took the ginger from his wife's hand and bent down to kiss him on the lips. Qin Mian felt the man's fear and nervousness from his rapidly agitated tongue. Without caring that his hands might be stained with ginger juice, he put his arms around the man's shoulders and responded gently to calm the man's tense mood. Only then Lei Tie found out that his wife's waist was propped against the solid kitchen table. Lei Tie quickly pulled him up, lifted up his clothes, and saw that his waist was red. His brows wrinkled as his big hands rubbed the area where his wife was squeezed. "It's fine. It doesn't hurt." Qin Mian felt a little languid when Lei Tie needed him. He leaned on the man for a moment, pecked on the earlobe nearest to his mouth and straightened up, "Cook first." Lei Tie released him and continued to trim the vegetables. "What's your plan?" Qin Mian didn't care very much. "He's just a nobody, he doesn't deserve our attention. Today, my sudden appearance in front of him is enough for him to have a nightmare for 2 days. If he behaves, I'll let go. If he dares to provoke me again, I'll make him regret being born in this world." Lei Tie was non-committal. From the angle Qin Mian couldn't see, his eyes were cold and dark, filled with viciousness. Tie, do we need to buy another car?" Qin Mian thought of Lei Tie saying that he wanted to make a career. Having one car at home was not enough. Lei Tie shook his head. "When I make money, I'll buy it for you." Qin Mian chuckled, his joy overflowing into his eyes. He said briskly, "Okay, I'll wait. Anyway, I don't like a car that costs tens of thousands of yuan." "Ha ha ha." Lei Tie glanced at his wife helplessly and dotingly. Did he get looked down upon? I'll buy you a car that costs at least 1 million. Qin Mian was curious, "What do you want to do?" The corner of Lei Tie's mouth twitched almost imperceptibly, "No idea yet." Qin Mian bowed his head and snickered. The man's little troubled expression was novel and funny. However, in order to not hurt the man's self-esteem, he kindly changed the topic. "Don't eat too much at night. 3 dishes are enough, right? After that, add another plate of fruit. Listen to you." When the meal was ready, Qin Mian woke up their 2 sons. After eating, the family of 4 and 3 beasts went into the magical space for a walk to help digestion. Later, Lei Tie told his 2 sons to go to bed by 10 o'clock before he dragged Qin Mian into the bedroom, urging him to take a bath. As soon as Qin Mian came out from the bath, the man stuffed a notebook into his hands. The window page showed an automobile net. "Pick a brand you like." After Lei Tie said that, he nonchalantly went into the bathroom. Currently, money was really nothing for Qin Mian and Lei Tie. Not to mention that there were so many natural materials and treasures produced by themselves in the space. The total value of gold, silver, and jewelry awarded by the emperor alone was at least several hundred millions worth. But the meaning of the gifts that one bought with the money one earned was different. Qin Mian laughed and climbed to bed. Leaning on the bed, he chose carefully. LIAN washed very quickly. He wore only a white bathrobe, with a faint steam still lingered on his body. Qin Mian's eyes were staring at the screen without blinking. His side face was soft and charming under the wall lamp. LIAN drew the curtain, sat down next to his wife, gathered the man into his arms to lean on his chest, and laid his chin on his wife's shoulder. "What do you like? I've taken a fancy to 2 models for the time being. This one." Qin Mian raised his hand and pointed at the picture. Because of this action, the bathrobe that was tied casually spread out, and LIAN's position just happened to be able to see the indistinct scenery in the bathrobe. His breathing constricted. His big palm on his wife's waist glided slowly and untied the belt. Although the air conditioner was on, the temperature in the room seemed to rise a few degrees at a time. Qin Mian wickedly bumped the man's lower abdomen with his elbow. The consequence of his crime was that he was immediately overturned on the bed. After breakfast, LIAN drove Lei Rulan to the set. Qin Ruki didn't follow them. Last night, he had searched the internet for some acting books. Today, he was going to the bookstore to buy books. When Qin Mian had cleaned up the kitchen later, he took Ruki out. Jin Simo P, Dian Bai, and Jinying had been locked up in the magical space for a long time. On the day of moving, Qin Mian reduced their size with spiritual conjuration and disguised Dian Bai as a Rottweiler and Jin Simo P as a Golden Retriever. Greater Spotted Eagle was a second-class national protected animal, so he disguised Jinying as a parrot. Jinying didn't want to fly in the air, it stood on Dian Bai's back. As soon as the 2 people and 3 animals appeared downstairs, they were noticed by other residents in the community, who secretly exclaimed that the family's pets were raised well. Some people secretly used their mobile phones to shoot Jinying and Dian Bai and posted it on microblogs. Qin Mian and Qin Ruki didn't care. The address of the bookstore had been checked for a long time. It was not far from the community, which was 2 li at most. Qin Mian took his eldest son to walk over directly. This way, they could get familiar with the environment near his home. Along the way, Dian Bai and Jinying got a lot of turning heads. The bookstore was a relaxing book bar, which integrated the sections of a library, a bookstore, and a cafe. The environment was quiet and elegant. Qin Mian told Dian Bai and the other 2 to stay outside the door and requested the help of the staff at the counter to look after them. They could be seen through the glass door. The staff member was a young girl with short hair. It was difficult for her to refuse the request of a handsome man. She blushed and sweetly smiled. "Okay, please rest assured." Qin Ruki glanced at her and took Qin Mian's hand. "Daddy, let's go in." The girl looked at Qin Mian and Qin Ruki in surprise. She couldn't believe that such a young man had such a big son. Qin Mian was amused. He rubbed his eldest son's head gently. A child, yet daring to do great mischief. He first took his son to pick out books on acting, and then took him to pick out some storybooks. "Ahu ahu!" Suddenly, there came a loud sound of clamor and the bellows of Dian Bai and Jin Simo P outside the door. The pair of father and son ran out in a hurry. Dian Bai, Jin Simo P and Jinying all glared at a young man and a young woman. The short-haired girl stood at the side, not knowing what to do. "Excuse me, what's the matter?" Qin Mian frowned and asked the short-haired girl politely. The girl quickly explained, "It's just a misunderstanding. This lady wanted to hold your dog, then." Qin Mian understood. Jinying and Dian Bai would not accept to be touched by strangers. Before he could speak, the young man suddenly said, "Bad boy, is that you?" Qin Mian turned his head. The young man scolded his eldest son, his expression turned grim. He put his arm around his son's shoulders as he stared coldly at the young man. "What's the matter?" Lu Yunzao looked at him and laughed angrily. What's the matter? This boy made this young master bask in the sun for more than an hour. You forgot, but this young master hasn't forgotten. Oh, Mian nodded, it turns out to be you, who tried to rob my son. You. Lu Yunzao hugged his girlfriend's arm tightly, looking panicked. Don't evade from the subject. This boy had made me and a few of my buddies bask in the sun for so long, this account has to be settled. Mian gave a faint smile and looked at his son. Ruki said in concise and well-mannered way, you were the first to do harm to my Didi, so my Didi defended himself. No matter where this matter is spoken of, we're on the right. Lu Yunzao was stunned. My Didi? Were they twins? He took a closer look and found that although this boy looked identical to the boy who had stunned them, the temperament was different. Ruki did not show any diffidence in the face of an adult. He said in a light voice, you seem to have a distinguished bearing, you must have come from a distinguished family. Can't you tell right from wrong? Within the crowd, a girl exclaimed out of nowhere, the boy is so handsome. More and more people gathered to watch the excitement. Lu Yunzao became angry with embarrassment. He stared at Mian with a profound look. Holding in his anger, he asked with an insincere smile, I haven't asked your surname yet. Mian said calmly, Mian. Lu Yunzao asked again, local. Yes. Mian blurted out. Lu Yunzao said, my surname is Lu, my name is Lu Yunzao. Mian curled the corner of his mouth. Lu Yunzao said strangely, have you never heard of me? Mian said, har har. Who didn't know that har har had the meaning of idiot? Lu Yunzao's face suddenly changed. He said in a cold voice, wait and see. With that, even his girlfriend was left behind as he marched away. The young woman glared at Mian fiercely and stepped on the 8 centimeters thin heels to catch up. Young Master Luo, wait for me. Mian and Ruki did not care about this little episode. They went back to the book bar and continued to pick books. Mian had asked Dianbai how they got transmigrated, but Dianbai wasn't clear on the details either. According to Mian's analysis, maybe Dianbai had an obsession with this time and space, or maybe when Dianbai cultivation advanced and it attracted too much power that it tore open the time and space. Maybe the next time Dianbai advanced again, it would be like this. So, he bought more books, even if he couldn't finish reading them right away, he could put them in the space and read them slowly later. End chapter. Minwei Qi Nan. Chapter 218. Investment. Ever since he met Mian that day, LIAN had been anxious and fearful. Every time he saw Yongcheng, he had to carefully observe the man's face and wondered if Mian had already contacted him. Yongcheng had been immersed in business for many years. So long that he had already developed a pair of insightful eyes. He could see through all LIAN's little movements. Although he knew nothing of what LIAN was guilty of, LIAN's jittery look made him angry, exasperated at his son's failure to live up to expectations. LIAN. The chopsticks in LIAN's hands fell off and made 2 crisp sounds on the white and smooth floor. When the servant heard the clamoring, he came over and saw the tension between the father and son. He did not dare to step forward. I'm sorry, Daddy. LIAN quickly picked up the chopsticks and put them aside, squeezing out a stiff smile. I have been suffering from some insomnia these 2 days. Oh? Because what? Yongcheng asked coldly. He slowly drank the soup, while his sharp eyes still fell on LIAN, thoroughly probing. Nothing. 2 days later, it's young Master Liu's birthday. I haven't made up my mind about his birthday present. I'm worried about it. LIAN quickly found an excuse. Yongcheng hummed coldly and sighed in his heart. He felt powerless. The Qin family's industry rose in his father's hands and developed in his hands. He was very worried that the foundation of the Qin family would be destroyed in his son's hands. Qin Mian's whereabouts were still unknown. He only had one son now. If the Qin family's industry was not handed over to Qin Lian, who else was it going to be? However, Qin Lian's performance truly dissatisfied him. As Qin Yongchen's gaze became profound, Qin Lian's heart beat faster. Knowing that Qin Yongcheng didn't like him, he made up his mind not to let him know that Qin Mian had come back. Qin Yongcheng thought negatively that maybe he should marry his son to a capable daughter-in-law, and then hand over the Qin family's industry to his daughter-in-law. However, if he did so, their Qin family would definitely become a joke in the business circle. Moreover, the Qin family's industry would fall into the hands of an outsider. At this time, Qin Yongchen's mind suddenly had an idea. He was still young and in good health. If he trained his grandson well. Madame Qin, Mo Feifei, acted as the peacemaker. Enough, enough. Eat first. If you have something to say, wait until you finish eating. Qin Yongchen's expression relaxed. Looking at Qin Lian, he said in a grave tone and with sincerity, "You're our only son. We, the Qin family, still depend on you. Don't let me and your mother down." Qin Lian quickly responded, "Yes. Daddy, I'll work hard." After eating, Qin Lian went to the company. Qin Yongcheng called Mo Feifei to the study and said, "LIAN is not getting any younger and he still hasn't mellowed. It's time for him to marry a wife to manage him." Mo Feifei knew her son best. She felt that Qin Yongcheng suddenly said this because he found out that Qin Lian was having affairs with several female employees in the company. She immediately nodded in agreement, "I think so, too. I was going to mention this to you. Husband, do you have a candidate in mind?" Qin Yongchen's look was hard to see through even by his wife. "Seem like you already have a candidate." Even though Mo Feifei was in her early 50s, her charm still lingered. Her soft smile had its own mature charm. "Yes, you know my eldest sister-in-law's niece, Yag." "Yag." Qin Yongcheng glanced at her meaningfully and said gently, "That child Yag is really good, smart and beautiful. But it's too early to decide. LIAN is our only son. We should be careful in choosing our daughter-in-law. Next month is the 40th anniversary of the company's establishment. We'll have a reception and invite more friends over." Mo Feifei's eyes flashed and she nodded with a smile. "Leave it to you to be so thoughtful." On the other side, LIAN was busy on his notebook wherever he went these 2 days. Qin Mian was not allowed to peek at it. Even if Qin Mian teased him whether he was secretly on a third-rate porn website, he still did not let Qin Mian see. Qin Mian took over his job of taking Lei Rulan to the filming set every day. LIAN stayed at home. Qin Ruki sometimes followed Qin Mian, and sometimes stayed at home with LIAN. Today, Qin Mian came to the filming set with Lei Rulan but found that the atmosphere of the production crew was very dull. Chen Yu was gloomy as he stood in front of the monitor, smoking. Zhang Qiang also had a grim face. "What happened?" Qin Mian asked a makeup artist he was familiar with in a low voice. The makeup artist shook her head and whispered, "I don't know. Director Chen just answered a phone call and then it became like this." Qin Mian noticed that Zhang Qiang's sight passed over his son, his heart thumped. Was it related to his son? He went directly to Chen Yu and Zhang Qiang and greeted them with a smile, "Director Chen, Assistant Director Zhang. Good morning." Chen Yu's face softened a little. "You're here." Zhang Qiang nodded faintly and signaled Chen Yu with his eyes. Chen Yu paid no heed to it and frowned as he mulled over. Qin Mian said, "Is something wrong?" Seeing that Chen Yu was silent, Zhang Qiang had no choice but to ask him, "Mr. Qin, since you asked, I'll tell you straight away. Has your family ever offended someone?" Qin Mian's first thought was Qin Lian. "Why are you asking this?" Zhang Qiang said, "Just now, we received a call asking us to replace, afraid of the child becoming sad. He only hinted at Lei Rulan, otherwise, the investor will withdraw the investment." Qin Mian raised his eyebrows. Lei Rulan raised his eyebrows. The movement was very identical to his father. Apparently, he understood the words of Zhang Qiang, but still remained calm. Chen Yu noticed it, which made him like the boy even more. But he did not dare to say that he would continue to use Lei Rulan. At this time, if the investor withdrew his investment, it would be detrimental to the future publicity of the film, while on the other hand, if he couldn't find a new investor in a short time, it would cause great losses. Zhang Qiang thought that at this time, if Qin Mian really understood the truth, he should take the initiative to ask his son to quit. However, Qin Mian calmly asked, "How much money has the investor invested?" Zhang Qiang was stunned. Chen Yu also looked over in surprised. He thought of a possibility and subconsciously straightened his waist. 80 million. Zhang Qiang replied. Qin Mian nodded, "How about I invest?" It was not just about fighting for his son. He was really optimistic about the film. The film was first class in terms of its directing team, leading roles, and script. It was impossible for it not to be popular. Chen Yu and Zhang Qiang were astounded. Chen Yu made a gesture and seriously said, "Let's talk inside." Entering the nearest dressing room, he asked, "Are you serious?" "Of course." Qin Mian said, "It's very likely that this incident is really aimed at me. However, I also want to ask. If I can ensure that the investment is in place, will other aspects be affected?" "No," Chen Yu firmly said, "although I'm not powerful or influential, I won't allow myself to be manipulated." Qin Mian didn't doubt him. The network of a popular director couldn't be underestimated. "Good. I'll transfer 2 million to you first so you continue shooting. The rest will arrive before dark." Afterward, without caring about whatever reaction Chen Yu and Zhang Qiang had, he lowered his head and asked his youngest son, "Rulan, I want to go out for a while. Are you fine being alone?" Lei Rulan casually put his hands in his big pocket, not in the least looking worried, and said with a smile, "Daddy can be rest assured." Qin Mian asked about the account number, nodded to Chen Yu and Zhang Qiang, and turned to leave. Chen Yu and Zhang Qiang looked at each other, speechless. An hour later, the text message reminded Chen Yu that there were 2 million deposited in his account. Chen Yu and Zhang Qiang settled down. At this time, they were not worried that Qin Mian was tricking them, since before they even signed the contract, Qin Mian had transferred 2 million. In other words, if Qin Mian dared to trick them, he wouldn't get this 2 million back. When all the others had arrived, the shooting continued. At lunch, Chen Yu and Zhang Qiang took care of Lei Rulan. Lei Rulan was very sensible and didn't let them worry much. Qin Mian, on the other side, dug out a 500-year-old ginseng in the magical space after he transferred 2 million. He remembered that there was a 300-year-old ginseng that weighed 305 grams and sold for RMB 10 million. This 500-year-old ginseng weighed 589 grams and was rarer. It came from the magical space, so it was of better quality. It was worth at least 20 million. If there were too many 100-year-old ginseng in the market, it would certainly attract attention. Hence, he only planned to sell this one. Because of time constraints, he did not take the ginseng to the auction company but directly contacted a reputable pharmaceutical company, asking for 30 million yuan. After some bargaining, he finally closed the deal with 28 million yuan. After leaving the pharmaceutical company, Qin Mian put on an illusion to change his appearance and mingled with the vast crowd. No one could find him. Later, he and Lei Tie disguised themselves and sold 3 pieces of jade and 2 pieces of jewelry in different cities, making up 100 million. Before 4 o'clock, he reappeared in the shooting set, found Chen Yu, signed a contract, and transferred 78 million to the production crew. Chen Yu and Zhang Qiang were completely relieved. For the remaining 22 million, Qin Mian gave Lei Tie 12 million to start a business. Lei Tie's appearance when he seriously said, "Wife, this is borrowed," was so cute that Qin Mian couldn't help pouncing on him. The counterattack was as expected. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Qin Mian leaned on Lei Tie's body as he pressed on his strong chest muscle, listening to the man's breathing speeding and slowing in the wake of his hand's movement. He laughed in amusement. Don't make trouble. Lei Tie's voice was hoarse as he patted his wife's hip in warning. Qin Mian remembered that he still had something he had not done. He rolled up the sheets and sat up. Where's my phone? Lei Tie picked up 2 mobile phones on the bedhead, compared them, and handed one to him. Their mobile phones were identical, but the screensavers were different. Qin Mian dialed Qin Lian's phone. Qin Lian, was today's matter you're sly doing? Qin Lian was puzzled. What? It didn't sound like he was lying when Qin Mian heard him. He soon thought of another suspect. He didn't admit to it. Lei Tie hooked his wife's hips, letting him move up. Qin Mian hung up, a cold light flashed in his eyes as he smiled profoundly. I might have mistaken him. Luo Yunzhao. At this time, the phone rang. The string of numbers displayed looked familiar. Hello. Hello, Mr. Qin. I'm Lin Feng. Mr. Lin? Hello, what's up? Qin Mian was surprised. My health has been much better recently. I want to express my thanks again. Lin Feng added, also, my friend told someone how skillful in medicine Mr. Qin is, so he wants to meet Mr. Qin. He wants me to introduce you to him. I wonder if Mr. Qin can do me the favor. Their family might have to live a long time in modern life, so it was necessary to foster connections. Qin Mian agreed without thinking more. Sure. We're going to a young master's birthday party at 7 tomorrow night. Why don't I pick up Mr. Qin tomorrow afternoon? Sure. I have my own car. How about meeting at Qingming Square at 6 o'clock? Goodbye. Qin Mian would not easily disclose the address of his home. End chapter. Minwei Qinan. Chapter 219. Young Master Lu. As luck would have it, Lei Rulan had to be on the filming set. Qin Mian let Lei Tie use the car, while he took a taxi to Qingming Square. At 6 o'clock, the street lights were on. After meeting with Lin Feng and exchanging a few simple greetings, he got in Lin Feng's car. The low-key black car swam in the ocean of lights and stopped at the entrance of a grand hotel. The main character of the party was Lu Yaming, Lu Yingchu's cousin. Not many people were invited, only about 20 people, so only a medium-sized banquet hall was booked in the hotel. When Qin Mian and Lin Feng arrived, there were more than 10 people in the hall, taking food from the buffet table, and they carried plates as they chatted in threes and twos. There were also people at the performing stage, singing with microphones. Qin Mian's eyes flashed a faint trace of understanding. Right now, there were so many people coming. About half an hour before 7 o'clock, it seemed that young Master Liu's identity was not simple. Many people came to greet Lin Feng. After listening to their talks, Qin Mian realized that Lin Feng was the eldest son of Lin Wujia, a famous entrepreneur in China. Lin Wujia, one of the representatives of the IT industry, had been ranked in the top 3 in the domestics, the richest list, for 5 consecutive years. It was no wonder that Lin Feng didn't even blink when he proposed to buy the supplementary medicine. 1 million was a drop in the bucket for the Lin family. Lin Feng did not neglect Qin Mian and introduced him to others. The others had never heard of Qin Mian's name, so their reaction was mediocre. They just nodded to Qin Mian for Lin Feng's sake. It was considered a greeting, yet there was an invisible wall that excluded Qin Mian. Qin Mian, who had seen the emperor before, was not affected by them at all. He gave a smile and nodded slightly. He took a glass of wine from the waiter's tray and sat down on the sofa with his legs overlapped, calm and composed. Lin Feng knew Qin Mian's skills best. Since he took the medicine Qin Mian prescribed, his health was getting better and better day by day. In the past, he didn't even dare to speak aloud. Now, his health was almost the same as ordinary people and was full of spirit every day. Just a few days ago, he went to the hospital again for an examination and the doctor even had an expression of disbelief. Therefore, he did not dare to neglect Qin Mian. Who dared to say that his family members would not get seriously ill in the future and would need Qin Mian's help once again? However, even if he wanted to make friends with Qin Mian, he would not flatter him. Instead, he chose some suitable topics to chat with Qin Mian, so as to make Qin Mian feel comfortable. Qin Mian saw his intention and appreciated him. When the others saw Lin Feng's attitudes, they felt strange. This made them curious about Qin Mian's identity. Voices came from the door. Lu Yunzhao, Zhang Zixuan, and Sun Ting came in together. Zhang Zixuan and Sun Ting were being led by Lu Yunzhao. "Young Master Luo, here you are." The singers smilingly welcomed them. Lin Feng didn't walk over. When Lu Yunzhao approached, he stood up and greeted him with a smile. After chatting for a while, Lu Yunzhao noticed that the person sitting on the sofa didn't move. He was not happy. Once he took a clear look, his face darkened. "Qin Mian? Why are you here?" Lin Feng stepped forward. With a faint smile, he said politely to Lu Yunzhao but was also polite to Qin Mian, "Mr. Qin is my friend. I brought him here. Do you know each other, young Master Luo?" Lu Yunzhao didn't answer, but stared at Qin Mian darkly. Qin Mian looked at him with indifference. "The film production crew's issue was your doing, isn't?" Lu Yunzhao's expression turned even worse. He had some relationship with the investor of Heart Caution. After finding out that Lei Rulan was actually a member of the cast, he immediately made a phone call to the investor and then sent someone to watch at the cast, waiting to see a drama. He thought that Chen Yu would replace Lei Rulan if he threatened Chen Yu with the investment withdrawal. However, he didn't expect to receive news that the film had changed investors so soon. His threat not only didn't work, but also made the original investor pay a lot of liquidated damages. But of course, the original investor wouldn't let him return the lost money, but now, he owed them a favor. Qin Mian's indifferent expression further angered Lu Yunzhao. He said to Zhang Zixuan and Sun Ting, "Drive him out." Lin Feng's expression abruptly changed and he squinted at Lu Yunzhao. "Young Master Luo, today is young Master Liu's birthday. He'll be here soon." Before Zhang Zixuan's words were finished, Lu Yunzhao said in an angry voice, "I said drive him out. I'll explain it to young Master Lu myself." Lin Feng stepped forward and said in a heavy tone, "Young Master Luo, Mr. Qin is my friend." "So what?" Lu Yunzhao was so angry that he failed to choose his words. Lin Feng asked flatly, "That is to say, young Master Lu can decide for young Master Lu in this event?" Sun Ting stopped Lu Yunzhao before the latter opened his mouth, shook his head and looked at Qin Mian with a complex expression, who had been sitting on the sofa calmly. Even though he was the only one sitting at the scene, Sun Ting still felt that everyone had a weak presence in front of Qin Mian. At this time, two more people came in, Qin Lian and Yu Xiangkui. When Qin Lian saw Qin Mian, the smile froze on his face. "Someone you know?" Yu Xiangkui asked thoughtlessly. Qin Lian responded ambiguously. Yu Xiangkui did not ask further. When Lu Yaming and Lu Yingche walked over side by side and saw that everyone was standing, they were puzzled and asked, "Why are they all standing?" All of them changed into smiling faces and wished Lu Yaming a happy birthday and presented gifts. Only then did Qin Mian stood up. Lu Yaming walked to Lin Feng with a smile, nodded to Qin Mian in a friendly way, and asked Lin Feng, "Ah Feng, is this that Mr. Qin you mentioned?" "Yes." Lin Feng said with a smile, "This is Qin Mian, a doctor. Mr. Qin's medical skill is extraordinary. It's to his credit that my illness has improved so quickly. Mr. Qin, this is Lu Yaming, the third generation of the legendary army." "What legendary?" Lu Yaming smiled and slapped Lin Feng on the shoulder. One could see that he had a good relationship with Lin Feng. He was Lu Yingche's cousin, so he had heard about Qin Mian from Lu Yingche. "Nice to meet you, Mr. Qin. Qin Mian held out his hand and said, "Nice to meet you, young Master Lu. I wish you a happy birthday." Lu Yunzhao heard their conversation clearly, his expression changed greatly and felt afraid. Although his status was not low, it was not as good as Lu Yaming. Lu Yaming was the real young master. It was no secret that the elderly man of the Lu family had been unwell in the past 2 years. The reason why Lu Yaming attached so much importance to Qin Mian was obvious. He could not help but secretly be happy that he had not managed to drive Qin Mian away, as not only would the Lu family blamed him, even his own Lu family would not have spared him. In addition to Lu Yunzhao, there was another person who didn't look very good. That was Qin Lian. In the first place, he spent so much effort to get into this circle, so how did Qin Mian get into the relationship with young Master Lu so easily? As the sense of crisis forced the restraint in his mind again, Qin Lian blurted out, "Young Master Lu, isn't something wrong with this? As far as I know, this Mr. Qin had no contact with medical skills before he was 24 years old. Even at this time, he did not say that Qin Mian was his elder brother. But in order to avoid being found out afterwards, he didn't say anything. He just used a sarcastic tone when he said Mr. Qin. Outsiders would only think that they had a private enmity. It was not surprising that no one found out that Qin Mian was Qin Lian's elder brother. Qin Mian was Qin Yongchen's illegitimate son. He entered the Qin family only when he was 15 years old. After graduation, he worked as a photographer of food programs. He didn't get involved in the Qin family's business and hardly appeared in front of the public. So, outsiders didn't know that Qin Lian had an elder brother. Lu Yaming gave Qin Lian a cold glance. No matter whether Qin Mian's knowledge of medicine was true or false, Qin Lian should not put Qin Mian down on this occasion. This was equivalent to him slapping Lu Yaming in the face. Qin Lian's heart thumped, even Yu Xiongkui looked at him with disapproval. Lu Yaming was too lazy to argue with Qin Lian and considered it as he didn't hear what the other man had said. He said with a smile, "This way, please." Intentionally or unintentionally, Qin Lian was excluded by everyone. The birthday party, in blunt words, was wine, dine and singing. More or less, everyone could see that Lu Yaming was trying to rope in Qin Mian. Thus, they were apprehensive and did not go overboard. They went to the side to play mini-games, or fight over who gets to sing next, and even turned down the volume. Qin Mian, Lu Yaming, Lin Feng and Lu Yingche were sitting in the booth in the corner. Although Lu Yaming was a young master, he was not as arrogant and arbitrary or treated people with contempt as most people would think. His speech and manner were very decent and elegant. "Mr. Qin, to be honest, I want to invite you to give medical advice to an elder of mine." Qin Mian handled the identity of the 4 members of his family very properly. The identity of Lu Yaming's family was not ordinary. Qin Mian knew that Lu Yaming must have investigated him, but he could only find out that their family just came back from abroad and settled in S city. Nothing else could be found out. Qin Mian said, "Young Master Lu should know that my medical skills are not from regular medical schools." "I know." Lu Yaming gave him an apologetic smile, admitting that he had investigated him. Qin Mian's graduate school was not a medical school. "I'm very sincere, so let's get this straight. Hope you don't mind. First, I'd like to ask Mr. Qin to check the pulse of my elder. As for whether I need Mr. Qin for treatment, we'll talk about it later. Of course, I'll pay for it." Qin Mian was non-committal. "If it's not inconvenient for young Master Lu to say, how unwell is the elder?" Lu Yaming nodded and said in a low voice, "There is a sign of paralytic stroke. I don't charge a low consultant fee." Qin Mian didn't need to flatter anyone. Lu Yaming's smile deepened. "Of course, no problem." If Qin Mian didn't charge for the outpatient service, Lu Yaming would owe him a favor. One must know that sometimes, owing someone a favor was more troublesome than owing someone money. A waiter came over, stood a few steps away, and did not approach. "Young Master Lu, there is a Mr. Lei outside asking for Mr. Qin. Qin Mian took out his mobile phone to take a look, it turned off automatically when the battery ran out. Seeing this, Liu Yaming knew it was Qin Mian's friend and said to the waiter, "Please invite him in." In a moment, a tall man strode in. His face was frosty as his cold eyes swept around indifferently, it was only when they fell on Qin Mian that they became gentle. The civil smile on Qin Mian's face faded away and turned to genuine yet charming smile. He quickly walked over and said, "You come to pick me up." Lei Tie embraced his shoulder and nodded, "Can go." Liu Yaming noticed the unique temperament of a soldier on Lei Tie. He asked Qin Mian with a smile, "Who is this?" Qin Mian's eyes swept over to Qin Lian. A touch of cunningness flashed through his eyes. He said frankly, "This is my spouse, Lei Tie." Liu Yaming and the others were stunned. There were also gays among the friends around, but they had never seen such an honest and easy-mannered person as Qin Mian. Qin Lian nearly dropped the wineglass in his hand. His eyes flickered, he couldn't restrain his excitement. Qin Mian is involved with a man. Qin Mian said, "Young Master Liu, I'm sorry. I'm leaving first. You can get in touch with me at any time once you made the necessary arrangements." Liu Yaming said with a smile, "Okay, many thanks. I'll see you off." End chapter.